Hello and welcome to video number 1, which is the introduction. Now, I want to say before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about mindset, meaning you want to be in the right frame of mind before you get started. And I want to clear some things up a little bit just so that you can gain some confidence as well. So for a lot of people, the thought of having to sell can be very intimidating unless you're a natural born salesperson or that is your job. Now, thankfully, this method is all about providing value first. If you think about it, how many times have you trusted someone after they have provided immense value? In other words, providing helpful tips is actually something that is easy to do. So here's a quick video's overview of what's inside this video course. Obviously, this is video number 1. Video number 2, we're going to talk about objections, or in other words, potential roadblocks or the reasons why your prospect might be thinking, no, I don't want to use your service, or no, I don't want to do this, or why they might be skeptical. Understanding that can really help you when it comes to utilizing the method, which is basically creating videos showing them how they can improve. So by creating these videos, it really knocks down the objections. But in addition to that, it also helps you get an idea of what you can talk about. Video number 3, we'll talk about 3 things that your prospects want, which is a lot of times an overlooked factor. And the 3 things are basically the end result that your clients want, whether it's leads, whether it's traffic, or whether it is profit. So video number 4, we'll talk about the actual method, which I've basically talked about briefly just now, but we'll dive in further in that video. Video number 5, we'll expand the method and talk about it a little more. And then, of course, video number 6, this method will allow you to become essentially the digital marketer in that specific niche. So in other words, if somebody is within that niche, they're more likely going to hire you if you utilize this specific method. Okay, so let's talk about getting started. So this method requires you to create screencast videos. Now, don't worry, you don't have to show your face, but to achieve this, you're going to need to have 2 things. You're going to need to have a microphone. Now, most computers have mics or a basic microphone. You don't need anything fancy for this as long as your voice is clear. If you're utilizing a mic and your voice is, staticky and not clear at all, that's a problem because your prospect, unfortunately, is going to judge a book by its cover. So they're going to judge you based on the quality of your mic. Now, we'll talk more about different types of mics that you can purchase that are actually really cheap that you can buy if you want to go down that route. But for the most part, most of you should have a decent mic. Second of all, you're going to need to have a screencasting software. In other words, a software that will allow you to record what is going on your screen, on your computer screen. Now, there are several out there ranging from free apps to paid apps, which we'll cover later down the road. Now, don't worry if you don't like the sound of your voice. A lot of people say, I don't want to create videos because I don't like the sound of my voice. Well, if that's the case, the reality is your prospects don't really care. While they will judge based on the quality and based on what you provide in terms of the immense value that you provide to them. So don't worry about that. All right. So with that said, let's move on to video number 2. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 2, and we're going to talk about the different objections that your prospect is going to have before you even approach them. So having an idea of these objections will actually help you utilize the method in a more efficient way. In other words, you'll be able to get them closer to actually saying yes. So if you think about the experience that your prospects may have had in the past, they may have had bad experiences with other digital marketers, or they might have good experiences and more. So the questions that they are going to ask are the following. How are you different from everyone else? Now, by utilizing the method that I'm going to show you, that is going to answer this question. It's going to make you stand out upon the crowd because a lot of people aren't doing this. A lot of people are simply blasting a bunch of emails in hopes that somebody is going to bite. Now, if somebody has had a bad experience, they're going to ask, are you going to scam me? Of course, they're not going to, a lot of times they won't ask you that directly, but they're thinking that. But if you provide immense value up front, then guess what? You will gain their trust. So in essence, you're basically answering these questions in their heads. Now, you might be able to think of other objections that are not on this list, and that's great because if you can make sure that you cover your bases and cover as much objections as possible, that is going to help you down the long run. Another thing is a lot of people, especially if they don't have websites or they don't have videos and they just have something like a local store, a lot of them will say things like, well, my customers don't use the web. And a lot of times they'll say that, but they won't really know. Now, due to the recent events, you have people that are wary of actually walking into the local store. So there's a big demand now of getting people online. And because of that situation, people realize that businesses realize that they need to get on the web. So for the most part, you may not really have to worry about that. You might get a few of people that are into the archaic, traditional, in the dinosaur mentality that they don't need to use the web. So they don't use the web. They think their customers don't. Now, in my opinion, I would not approach these people because they're simply a waste of time. Yeah, you could potentially close the deal, but when you're actually creating the website or even making the videos, a lot of times they don't know what to expect. So they might jump in or they'll have, skeptical, they'll start second guessing and all that. The goal here is to focus on people who have existing websites, have existing videos, and are already doing some sort of online marketing. So in other words, they're trying to do it. They might not necessarily be doing a really good job, whereas that's where you come in. So those types of customers are actually a lot easier to close versus the first one. All right. So you can go beyond existing websites, videos. It really depends on what service you want to offer. So if you're offering video marketing, you're going to want to look for people with videos. So you could go to YouTube and do a search for people that fit a specific business. So obviously they're going to think, will I get more leads? Will I get more sales? Or will I get more profit? Now, obviously, all small business owners or all companies and businesses are going to think this. So they're going to think, if I'm going to hire you to develop a website, will it actually generate me more leads, right? Or more sales or more profit? Another objection is not enough money. And that's why I say approach businesses with existing websites or video, because they've already invested a little bit of money into that already. And they already are convinced and they believe in that. Now, if they say not enough money, what you're doing here is you're proving that you offer quality services. So by utilizing this method, you're actually going to resolve this objection because you're going to show that you're different, you provide immense value, and if you use the go narrow method combined with the actual method, then it's really going to make it convert at a higher rate. People are going to come to you because they feel like you actually understand their business. So there are other objections in terms of websites and videos. And for videos, a lot of times the small business owner has a little bit of fear when it comes to videos. So first off, maybe they don't have time to record, or they're worried about being on camera. But one way that I have, at least one thing that I have told a lot of small business owners and got them to, join a service for where they get their videos created is by asking this question. Simply asking them, you know how your customers ask the same questions? And they'll say, yeah, and you can ask them what are the top 5 questions that everyone asks? And just kind of drill into that. And then they'll tell you those questions, and you could ask, well, question number 1, how many times do people ask you that question? And most of the time they're going to say, well, I have to repeat myself over and over again because I'm going to have to explain to every single customer. Now, what I say to them is, well, by using videos, you can do it once. You simply provide immense value. You'll spend less time answering the same questions. And if it's on your website, which a lot of people actually go to the website to do a little bit of research on that business, they might have watched the video and at least will get an idea about the questions. And when they approach the business owner at that period of time, a lot of times they are actually wanting the service. Now, in terms of websites and other services, we could go on and on and on. Really what it comes down to is to figure out what they're doing at the first place, have they gotten results, and how you can improve on that. All right. So with that said, let's move on to video number 3. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 3, and we're going to talk about the 3 things that every single small business owner is going to want, which is more leads, which is essentially traffic, more sales, which is revenue, and more profit, which can be return on investment. So how much money they're actually making. So what I want to do here, and this video is going to be fairly quick, but I want you to keep this in mind as you look over your prospects' websites and try to get an idea of how this fits into what they're already doing. So that's why I don't want to keep it too long to make sure that you remember everything here. So in order to generate more leads, a lot of times this is considered, traffic. So you will build a list. It could be list building, video marketing, SMS, texting. It really depends on the business, and each business is very different. And that's why if you narrow down, which we'll talk about later, and focus on a specific group of businesses, it'll actually make life easier for you. And we'll talk more about that later on, but basically customers want more leads. So it really depends, like I said, on the business type. So if they are more of a furniture store where people walk in or people go online and purchase the product, it really depends on the business. Now, you have to keep in mind that you really don't have control over the sales process if there are salespeople on the ground, but you yourself can do as much as you can in terms of the website. So you can position your prospect, your customer, as someone who gives immense value. So it's very similar to the method that I'm going to show you in the next video. Now, like I said, if the product is sold via an online website, such as an e-commerce store or a digital product or a physical product, you can then easily improve on this. But like I said, if the business relies on the employees or the owner to close the sale, such as you generate the leads, they go from the website, they fill out a form, and then they call the business themselves. It really depends on whoever is picking up the phone. But you yourself can do as much as you can on the website to actually improve this. And then number 3 is, of course, more profit or return on investment, which is conversions. So in other words, if you're relying on the salesperson, you can't really do a whole lot there, but you can increase conversions by pre-selling via the website, maybe have an email autoresponder that build a relationship with the prospect or the customer, not your customer, but their customer. And pre-selling means you could have a website. Let's say your customer is a plumber. You could have on the website tips on fixing different plumbing appliances, maybe the basics, or how to diagnose something. So basically, you can do as much as you can via the website. So by the time they pick up the phone and they call the company, they're already sold. They want to get in the schedule. So if you angle it that way and you tell your customer that's how they're going to be able to save time, it's actually going to be easier for you to close the sale. So just to recap, more leads. So they're going to want more leads, want more sales, and want more profit. So when we actually utilize the method, I'm going to refer back to this, and we're going to utilize this kind of as our checklist. So we're going to want to mention ways that they can improve. Maybe if they're utilizing videos and trying to get traffic from them, we can figure out what are they doing that is working in terms of generating leads and what can they improve on. And more sales, maybe they're generating like maybe 100 sales out of like a certain amount of leads. How can they improve that? All right, so with that said, let's move on to the next video, and we're going to dive into the actual method. Hello and welcome to video number 4, and this is all about the method and the strategy of how to go about getting clients, and then of course increasing the conversion rate of closing the deal. So I briefly discussed this earlier, but this is about creating screencasting videos, or videos where you go to somebody's website, you show them what they're doing good or what they're doing right, and second of all, how they can improve in terms of the 3 items that we talked about earlier, which was leads and traffic, which is 1, sales, and then profit. So as long as you can talk in terms of those things as you talk about it, it's going to make sense to them, because otherwise it's just a bunch of jargon. So as long as you can say, you can improve this, and if you do this, you'll actually be able to increase your conversion rate. So if you're getting out of 100 people, you're only getting 1 sale, or out of 1,000 people, you're only getting 1 sale, you could actually increase it so that you might be getting, out of 1,000 people, you might be getting 10 or more. So that's how we can communicate with the prospect. And they're going to think, oh, wow, so I can do this, not invest as much money and do the same thing that I'm doing, but yet get more customers. So in terms of that, let's just write this down so that we can refer back to it. So we have leads, which are basically traffic, and then we have sales, and then we have profit. So we got revenue, or total revenue, and then profit is conversions. Okay, so these are the 3 items that we talked about earlier. In terms of the actual video, this is what you want to do. A lot of people make the mistake of jumping in and talking about themselves and trying to prove to the prospect that they know what they're talking about. You don't want to do that. In fact, if you've watched a lot of YouTube videos, the ones that do really well are the ones that go straight into the meat, and then they may talk a little bit about themselves. But the way you want to phrase this is You don't want to say, hey, I'm doing marketing or anything like that. You can just say, hey, my name is something something, first name, last name, whatever that is, and I help people in the dentist industry or whatever industry that you want. So the dentist industry. You could say, I wanted to make this video to show you a few things that you could do right away that'll increase your leads, sales, and profit. Now, if you don't have anything in your video that talks about like all three, you only want to mention the ones that you actually will cover. But for the most part, if you can cover all three, that is going to help your conversions, because that's going to make the prospect understand the benefits that they get. So all they're going to think is, what's in it for me? All right. So, hi, my name is XXX and I help people in the dentist industry. I wanted to make this video to show you a few things that you could do right away that'll increase your lead sales and profit. Now, another thing you could say is, hey, my name is whatever, and I landed on your website. So immediately they know exactly what your intention is. So they know that, okay, you're on your website, and they're thinking, oh, that's cool, you're on my website. All right. So then you could say, I wanted to make this video to show you a few things that you could do right away that they'll increase your leads, sales, and profit. So another thing, show you a few things that stood out to me on your website that could do that. So you're constantly referring back to whatever that they have, website, videos, or whatever. I help people in the dentist industry. In fact, I've helped so-and-so in some sort of city and state. And then you want to immediately go into their website. So in fact, when I would start on their website, and then I would begin recording on their website because it's familiar territory. So from this point, after you've introduced yourself, you've told them exactly what your intention is, then you can move on to the meat. So here's the meat, and this consists of what we call the sandwich method. So the sandwich method, if you think about a sandwich, there's a piece of bread on the top, and then you have the meat, and then you have bread. So here's what I mean by this. The bread is going to talk about what they're doing right now that stands out to you that they're doing right. So in essence, this is going to be some positivity. The meat is what stands out, improvements, and you never want to say anything negative. So you don't want to say like, this is bad or this is not good. You always want to talk about it in sort of a positive way. And then of course you want to end it with a positive note. So this way, this is actually a method that works really well, simply because this will allow you to talk about a little bit positive. It brings them in. Then you talk about the improvements, or essentially what you can do for them. And then you talk about the bread, which is another positive note. And at this point, you don't really need to say, I can do this, it's going to cost this much, or anything like that. The whole goal of this is simply to create a relationship. So what you want is you want them to respond to you and say, hey, I saw the video, hey, let's talk a little bit more and get to know one another, or figure out how you can help me, kind of thing. So that's what you want essentially for it to happen. So this is essentially just the first approach to get your foot in the door, because a lot of people, like I said earlier, all they do is simply call people on the phone and say, hey, I can help you get more leads and sales and profit. But the reality is that a lot of these companies get those same phone calls. So you're going to definitely stand out a lot more. Okay, so the bread, positive, the meat, and the bread. So let me give you some real life examples. Let's go to do a little research on a random prospect and essentially kind of do a mock video so that you can see exactly what it looks like. Okay, so what I did here is I did a search on dentist, Atlanta, Georgia, as you can see here. And what we're looking for are people who are investing money or have a website, have a video marketing or some sort of social media presence. And like I said, what you don't want is somebody who simply hasn't invested any money whatsoever. Now, one thing off the bat, I see this guy here, he's a dentist, he's running an ad, so he obviously appears at the top. The only downside is he doesn't have any reviews right here. So he has no reviews. So psychologically, people are going to look at this and they're immediately going to look at the ones that have the reviews. So he's probably investing money, who knows, anywhere from a couple hundred to thousands of dollars per month, and he might not be getting a lot of good results. So one thing I would say is, let's just go to his website here. And let's open this up here. And by the way, this is simply random. All right. So this person is, let's see, a cosmetic implant dentistry. So that's, let's see here. Cosmetic and emergency services. Dentists. Okay, so they do cleanings, but they also do other things as well. All right. So what you want to do is you just want to go through it and put yourself in the customer's shoes. Okay, their teeth are in pain, they need a dentist, and they want to figure out if the dentist is legit and other people have had a good experience. So right off the bat, we can say that he doesn't have any reviews. So that's a little bit of a turnoff. All right. So people want to know if other people have had experiences, whether good or bad. So that's one thing. So let's just write that down. So the positive is he is running Google Ads. He has a website. So let's write meat, things that he can improve on, get some reviews on his Google Places page. And we don't have to worry about the positive here. This is simply the ending. This is mainly what they're doing right. So they have a website. Let's go back here. So let's take a look here. Look at everything. All right, so let's see, do they have images? Nope, they only have an image of the office. So that's another thing. Improvements, Google Places page. Okay, this is actually going to be here. Needs images showing the dentist and happy faces. So you want to give them a little bit of tips that they can actually do themselves, so that when they do that, they will actually keep you in mind. So if they don't say yes right away, that's okay. Because if they do a few things and it actually helps them, well, guess what? They're coming back to you. So let's go over here. So we can tell off the bat that this is a royalty-free image. Well, let's go here, location, contact, menu. So looks like they have several dentists. New patient, meet the staff. So one thing off the bat I can see is they have this little menu thing, but not everyone is going to know to click on this. In fact, when you click on it, it looks like it's like an ad or something totally different. So what I recommend is, and they have a lot of links too, I would recommend that they move these links over here. All right, so let's jot that down. Menu icon, it's not natural. Move this to the top bar. So basically make a navigation bar. Now, of course, as we're doing this, we can create bullets so that it's just easier for us to see. All right, so let's go back here. So let's take a look. Another thing that is kind of annoying that I noticed that just keeps appearing is this box here. So let's see here. So every time I open a new page, this little box appears. So that's really annoying. Okay, so if I go back over here, let's see, yellow pop-up box should only appear once, not on every single page. So as you saw, the yellow pop-up box showed up on every single page, and that was really annoying. So let's go back here. Now, obviously, most people are going to come here and they're in pain or they want their teeth cleaned. So they want to know, are these people legit? So a lot of times they'll go straight to the meet the staff. So that should be front forward in the menu bar. So that should be at the top. So we have front office staff, insurance. Let's go down. Okay, so we have dental. Okay. And then they have the doctors. One thing that they could do is, it's very wordsy. So a lot of people are just going to scan the page. They're going to look around. So you could recommend on the doctor's pages to put more images of them smiling. Because if you notice, they do have an image of the doctor right here, but that's it. And most people don't want to read through this. And furthermore, it's not really formatted well, so it looks like a big clump. So let's go through here. So it looks like he has an Instagram page, or each one of these doctors have an Instagram page. Okay, this one doesn't. Let's see. Does this guy have something? Let's see. Take a look at him here. So just this doctor has an Instagram page. Let's take a look. So he has a lot of images here that really should be on the website. But of course, he's kind of mixing business with personal life. All right, so in essence, this basically shows to people that he's human and that he's a happy guy, it looks like, kind of thing. So let's write that down. Okay, so a lot of that should be front and centered. If we scroll down the page, they have a new patient coupon, which is good. So this page right here is a very long page. What they should be doing here is they should be splitting up the page. For example, people are going to want to know what kind of services do they offer immediately. And if they can't find that within the first few seconds and they're just confused, so they go here and they look through here and they're confused, they're going to exit and go to a different page. So obviously we can see that this is a fairly big practice. So they must be doing well, but they could be doing a lot better. And that's the point. So front page is too long. They need to break it up. They could have videos showing people around the office, or have the doctors make videos and simply put them on their individual pages. And then of course upload them to YouTube. Okay, so you don't want to do too much. You just want to do just a few. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start out. I'm going to say, bring over here. I'll say, okay, hey, Dr. Kirk, blah, blah, blah. I did a search and just want to say, this is awesome. I found your website here and if this is great. One thing that I want to say is that you can improve your conversion. So not a guarantee, but let's say out of 1,000 people, you get one person now. If you just simply add some reviews here, it doesn't have to be a lot. You just want to have some stars. This would actually increase your conversion rate. So I wanted to help you out because I know that you're spending money already. You see where I'm going? Okay. So you're trying to approach this as a helpful friend or helpful person. You're saying, hey, I see you're spending money. I want to help you increase your conversions. If you just add these here, you should be able to increase more conversions and more leads, or more people would actually come over here. Another thing that I notice is if I come to the website, really good job on the website. It looks good. It looks great. But one thing that you could definitely improve that would definitely help your conversion rate is we notice that the menu bar is here. And one thing is people are going to want to know, especially if they're looking for a dentist, who the dentists are. So what you might want to do is simply move some of these links to the navigation bar here. So they immediately find out the dentist, who y'all are, and you can also put a link for services so people can immediately find out what you provide. Because statistically speaking, and you can start spewing statistics and say, statistically speaking, from my experience, we found that if the patient is unable to find out the services within the first 5 to 10 seconds, they will leave. So I want to make sure that, you're investing into this because you're already investing ad money into this, that you're getting the biggest bang for your buck. Okay, so then I would go through here and talk about all these other things. Now, the YouTube thing is good because it's kind of a doorway into other services that you could potentially offer in the future. That you could say, hey, if you upload, a video and maybe answer some questions that you answer all the time, then you'll be able to get people to actually call. And when they actually call your business, they want to book an appointment. So it'll make your lives easier. It'll make your staff lives easier. You'll usually get a lot more clients that are really there because they want your services. Okay, so I would talk about that there. And yes, it does take a little bit of time to do some research, but as you do this over and over again, after you make a few videos, you're going to start to find some patterns. So a positive here is you can re-emphasize this and then give some positive compliments and stuff like that. So that's essentially the video. And then of course you can end with, hey, if you like to talk a little bit more about this, give some information on how to, discuss, whether it's via, phone, via live chat or FaceTime or whatever. And that's it. That's basically all you want to do. And then you have to wait and see if they respond. Now, don't be discouraged. Some people will not respond immediately just because they're really busy with their business. Sometimes it takes them months. Sometimes it'll take them weeks. Sometimes they'll immediately respond within a few days. So it really depends on how busy that business is. So like I said, don't be discouraged. And sometimes they will never respond. But hey, this is a lot better than sending, 1,000 emails to people and provide no immense value. So by providing immense value, you'll actually stand out from the crowd, and this will help you greatly. All right, so let's move on to the next video and talk about how you can go about creating videos in terms of the technical aspects, the software that you're going to need, and of course, the microphones. Hello and welcome to video number 5. Let's talk about tools that you're going to need and microphones that are available to you that do not cost a whole lot of money so that you can go about creating your screencasting videos. So there are 2 softwares that I highly recommend. One is more expensive than the other. One is actually free. You don't really need the paid version to do this. And it really comes down to what you need and what you want to do. Now, Camtasia, it does require a little bit of a learning curve to use, but bear in mind that once you are done recording, you can actually do a little bit of editing and you can edit the audio, you can remove things that you may not wanted to have in there, like mistakes. So that's a big plus with Camtasia. Then when you're ready to render the video file, you can then upload it to a variety of different places, such as YouTube. You can upload it and save it as different files, which then you can upload it to places like Vimeo.com. So Camtasia obviously gives you a lot more leeway in terms of different ways that you can go. Now, like I said, it does cost a little bit more money than Loom. So you can see here, it does cost $249, but I've used Camtasia and I'm using it now, and it's very, very easy, and it really helps, especially if you make a lot of mistakes or you just make a few mistakes and you want to edit them out. So when you send it to the client, they are impressed by the quality, but they're also impressed by what you have shared with them and the immense value that you have given them. Okay, so Camtasia is one option. The other option is called Loom. Okay, so Loom is something that we have been testing recently, but Loom actually allows you to record just by installing a Chrome extension. And as you can see here, you can show your screen and you can also show your face if you would like to as well. Now, like I said, I would just recommend putting it and showing the video. Don't show your face yet until they're actually interested. All right, so if you go under pricing, you'll notice that there is a free level. This free level actually is really good if you just want to record videos and then send them the link. So that's the nice thing about Loom, is it will automatically record and upload the video up to Loom so that you can provide your client with a link. And when they view that link, you'll actually be notified if somebody takes a look at that video. So that's a big plus compared to that of something like Camtasia. Now, at the same time, there are disadvantages with the free level. So with the free level, you can't really edit the video. So if you were to record and you were making several mistakes, you would not be able to edit the video in terms of the free level. Of course, you can upgrade to the other levels as well here. Now, one thing I want to say is when you're recording the videos, it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. In fact, if it feels like it's too perfect, then they might feel like there's, their mind will go into, okay, what are they hiding kind of thing. So if you make a few mistakes, that's fine. It makes you look human. So it's okay to say or filler words, but just not say too many. All right, so this level, highly recommend. But like I said, the disadvantage is you cannot edit the video and it simply uploads and that's it. So the main differences between the two is Camtasia gives you a lot more leeway in terms of what you can do. Now, in comparable to these plans over here, so if you were to go like with the $15 a month or even the $45 a month, the per month is going to add up. With the Camtasia, you simply pay $249 or whatever the fee is, and that's it. There's no monthly fee. So those are the different options that are available to you. now you know the advantages and the disadvantages. If I were to say, if you're starting out, I would say just try the basic level of Loom first. As far as utilizing it, it's actually very easy. It's self-explanatory, in fact, compared to that of Camtasia. So start with this first, and when you begin to get more clients, or maybe the first client, and you get some money to invest, perhaps then invest into Camtasia. Now, the next thing you're going to need, obviously, is a microphone. And the microphone that you're going to need is going to have to have some sort of decent quality. You don't want to have a microphone that ends up bringing a lot of static into the video, because it's just going to be annoying for the client and they're going to assume that you're unprofessional. So like I said earlier, people judge a book by its cover. So what that means is simply that people will judge you by the quality of your video. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the sound quality needs to be somewhat good. So what you want to do is you want to look for a USB microphone. So you can go to google.com, look for USB microphone. So this is a microphone that simply plugs into your USB port and it's good to go, and you can begin to record. And if you're using Loom, you can simply record immediately, get it up, and simply send it to the client. Now, as far as the different USB microphones that are actually good, one that I recommend is the one down here, which is the Blue microphone. This one here. This one here is also good. Now, a lot of these are $100. Like I said, if you're investing into your business, this is actually pretty cheap. Now, you could go lower. You could go to up to $45 and look through here, and you could try some of these. In fact, Samson is actually a good company for microphones. I want to do something like this, but definitely Samson is a good company. So you could go with the $38, and then as you make more money, you can then invest into other things like the Blue Microphones Yeti. So this is actually a widely used microphone. This one here. And it's actually evolved over the years. And then of course we have the Audio-Technica. Audio-Technica in general, their microphones are really good as well. So as long as you get a USB microphone, you don't have to worry about, getting all sorts of equipment or anything like that. You simply plug and play, and that's it. So for example, my microphone is actually connected to a sound box and then connected to all sorts of other devices. So that's why a USB microphone is a lot easier, and it's cheaper, and it's gonna allow you to get up and running fast. So with that said, let's move on to the next video. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 6, and we're going to talk about the Go Narrow method. So what exactly is this? Well, this is all about narrowing down or getting really specific or niching down. So in other words, a lot of times when people try to sell their digital marketing services, they will try to approach all sorts of different types of businesses. The reality is that if you do that, you're going to have to learn different businesses, because different businesses are going to have different objections, different concerns, and different needs. So if you are able to just simply, let's say you want to pick a niche, you want to just do plumbing, or you just want to do dentists, or you just want to do maybe a specific niche, what ends up happening here is when you provide maybe immense value specifically for this, the more videos that you make for that specific niche, the better you will understand the pains, the objections, and the concerns of that particular business owner. So in that sense, you're not going to have to learn the ins and outs of 5 different niches. Instead, you simply focus on one niche, makes it easier for you, and if you advertise yourself as the niche marketer, then the plumber is going to feel like, okay, if you do plumbing, they're going to think, okay, this person understands me. They understand my business, especially if you've done marketing for plumbing businesses before. They are more likely to go to you than the other competitor who is trying to please everyone or trying to approach everyone. You see, it's kind of like you going to a specialist, a specific doctor. Let's say, for example, that you have heart issues, and you could go to your general family practitioner, but he or she may not necessarily specialize in that area. So in other words, you're willing to wait, you're willing to pay a little bit more money to go to a specialist because it fixes a specific concern, a specific problem that you're dealing with. Same with this. So to give you some ideas, if you type in the niche and then space business marketing, you'll get an idea of the different digital marketing agencies or websites that cater to that niche. Now, if you scroll down, a lot of times you'll see things like 10 practical plumber marketing ideas that you can start today and 17 plumber marketing ideas to grow your business. So if you take a look at this, this is a really good way of trying to understand that particular business. See, if you start using the words, the jargon that is in this niche, then you become more believable. You become more of that type of person that they're going to want to do business with. Now, if we look down here, this is not really focused on plumbing, but if we can find an article that focuses in on plumbing, then that's going to be a lot better. So the reason why I say go here is because you're not going to be an expert on every single business. You're going to have to learn the ins and outs of that business. And this is the reason why. So in doing this, on top of that, it can actually give you some more ideas on different things that you can do for that specific niche. So that's the whole idea of the Go Narrow method. It simply means find a specific niche, one niche, not two, not three, not five, one niche, and simply learn the ins and outs of it and pinpoint and focus specifically on those business owners. And if you combine that with the method of doing video screencasts, showing them, it makes it easier for you. Every video is going to be very similar. There might be a little bit differences, but you're going to learn over time. After you've made several videos, you're going to realize things on their website that just stand out.